Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David. Baruch Hashem. What a beautiful, beautiful day. Today is the yard site of my beloved father-in-law, my dear wife's father. He passed away when my wife was only 5 years old. Amazing. She recalls a few things from it, but again, she was only 5 years old. And so we're going to learn today Lilas Nishmas from Rav Akiva ben Peretz. Okay? And Baruch Hashem, we're learning, we are in the middle of learning Likutey MohaRan, Tinyana, the second part of Likutey MohaRan. We're in lesson 2. And today we're up to, we're in middle of the lesson. We're in middle of 8 on the lesson Ches. And we ended off yesterday, and we'll continue now. We'll finish this lesson, then we'll start in Mitzvah Hashem, the lesson in Likutey Halachos, and this was the prep lesson for what we're going to be learning in Likutey Halachos. Okay? So here we go. Ubishor shalei b'tzara, gam hareya b'tzara. Here's a very interesting idea. So we said, whenever the lave, the heart, is in a tsar, why would the lave be in a tsar? Because we said any time that there's a problem in the body, with any of the extremities of the body, any organ of the body, that's ailing. So we said that what happens is the blood rushes from there to the heart. All the blood rushes to the heart. And then it causes the heart to have to pump much stronger, right? Because there's more blood coming to the heart, rushing to the heart. So now the heart has to process more blood faster, and that's when people's blood pressure rises up, right? The blood pressure goes up because the heart is working harder because more blood is coming to the heart, causing the heart to overwork. Okay? He says now, but when that happens, there's also a problem for the lungs. They're also in a tsar. He's going to explain why. Because it's the lungs that give the life to the body. See, all the organs in the body are constantly working, and they're constantly getting hot. They're getting overheated, and the lung introduces air. The lungs introduce air and moisture in order to cool down the body, right? And that's what temperature is, right? When a person has fever, what happens? The lungs are not processing. Usually, when someone has problems breathing, so then they may have fever. Why? Because the lungs are not processing the air well, so they're not bringing enough moisture into the body, causes the body temperature to rise. It's amazing. Just to understand the system, how it really works. It's amazing. Ki areya mikayemes halecha levana umamsheches halichlus laguf. It keeps it's mekayem the moisture in the body. Ki aguf yesh le tenua shehem miyavshin haguf. There are different things the body does, and it dries out the body. Right? If that's dehydration. Right? Dehydration, right? We know that's a terrible thing. The body gets dehydrated. Ki atenua is miyavshin, because when you work, as you move the body, it causes the body to deplete its energy. Right? So therefore, the main kiyum of the body is through the lungs. The lungs are people. I don't know if everyone realizes that. All those people that like to light up their cigarettes. I don't know if they realize that their health is dependent on their lungs. Both their heart is connected to the lungs, because again, the heart is always working it's a muscle that's working very hard all the time. And if the lungs weren't there, Chazal tell us, the heart would burn up. The heart would burn up. It just keeps working. It doesn't get cooled down. It'll burn up. I mean, we can understand that, you have a car and the engine is working, right? So it needs the fan, right? It needs the fan to cool down the engine, right? If you don't have the fans not working or the coolant's not working, so then the car will overheat. The body's the same thing, right? You understand? Okay. It sends the moisture through the body. So now when the lave is troubled, because the heart is troubled, now the lungs are trying to pump the air into the body quicker. The lungs are trying to bring more air into the body. So obviously the lungs are overworking. Because the blood is now rushing to the heart because of the problem that the body is dealing with. Right? The body is dealing with a problem. And we said that all the blood runs to the heart. So now the heart's working harder. The lungs have to work harder as well. You follow this? David, you got it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. He's giving us a medical lesson. And it makes so much sense. So therefore the heart is thumping, it's working hard. The heart is pumping very, very hard. And then the lungs have to take in a lot of air. It has to draw a lot of air into the body. So then the heart, if the lungs can't keep up with it, so then the body dries out because it's not bringing in the moisture, it's not bringing in the air. Chas v'shalom. V'ashemen hu refuah le'areya. And the oil, shemen, oil, and again, the Rebbe is talking about this idea because he's talking about this, the Torah is called Yemei Chanukah. And on Chanukah we have the oil. So what the oil is really doing for us on Chanukah is bringing us our life back. See, when it comes to Chanukah, it's so dark. We feel so disconnected. And the light, the oil, gives us our life back. The oil brings us our life back. The same way when you have the lung is overworked because of the pain of the heart, right? And why is the heart in pain? Because something is going on with another organ. Right? So too is the same thing we are. The oil brings moisture, right? It brings moisture. Things flow well, right? If you have oil, if the door is squeaking, you put a little oil on it, it stops squeaking. Oil makes things work a little better. That's the tikkun for the tzara. So again, the oil, the light, kiner mitzvah Torah or, right? Kiner mitzvah Torah or, right? Torah is the antidote for most problems a person is dealing with. He can find his salvation in the Torah. Okay. Ubatchila kishatzadik b'tzar u'b'tzara. If the tzaddik, we said that the tzaddik is really the one that brings all the good to the world, right? We learned that yesterday. It's based on the schus of the tzaddik, like Chanina ben Doisa, right? He said, because of me, the world has. But Chanina ben Doisa didn't have much himself. He only had a little carob tree. But we said that's the way of the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim don't need much for themselves. They're working on making sure that everyone else has. They're not necessarily caring. But when the tzaddik is in tsar, whether the tzaddik has he's not well himself, or the tzaddik is lacking funds, or whatever the tsar is, the tzaddik's in tsar. Kama v'kama neshama sheba'olam hazeh u'ba'olam haba mekoininin u'misablin al tzaroi. So when the tzaddik is in tsar, the neshamas in this world and in the next world are feeling the pain, and they are so to say involved in the tzaddik's pain because they understand that their well-being is based on the tzaddik, right? Like we said yesterday with Rabbi Eliezer, he was the one that said that he called upon the walls of the Beis HaMedrash to sustain him, to claim that his view was correct when it came to the oven. Remember, we learned it, right? And there was Rabbi Yeshua that said, "Whoa, no, not the walls." Not the walls of the Beis Medrash. Remember that? Remember, right? Now, Rabbi Yeshua said, no, not the walls of the Beis Medrash. We need our Beis Medrash. Don't knock that down. It was enough you got rid of the carob tree. It was enough you got rid of the water was started to flow backwards. Okay, but the Beis Medrash, we need that. And the Shechina is also wailing. The Shechina is also feeling the pain of the tzaddik. Even when a Rasha has a problem. You hear this? Look how beautiful this is. Even a Rasha as having pain. The Shechina is mekainen. The Shechina wails over the problems of even the Rasha. You hear this? How much more so if the Shechina is misavel on miskainin on a Rasha? How much more if it's a tzaddik that's sustaining the world and helping the people in the world, and he's having a problem? Of course, the Shechina is going to be miskainin of the tzaddik. But when a person merits to have a refuah, and then that's why we're going to be learning about the 4 types of people, that the 4 circumstances we find ourselves in. Whether the person was ill and then he was healed. Whether the person was in a situation that he was incarcerated and then he was released. Whether the person was traveling through the desert and he was able to get through the desert and he was able to come back to civilization. Whether the person was traveling in the sea and going through big storms and what have you, and he was able to come back to dry land. So these people all have to give praise to Hashem, right? Because they have a refuah to their problem. Every one of them during their situations having a problem with their heart. Every one of them. They're worried. This one's worried that I'm too thirsty. The other one's worried there's a snake and a scorpion here. The other one's worried about the big storm and how am I going to get through it? The ship may fall apart. He's worried. The heart's pain. All of them. Right? The person's incarcerated. He doesn't know what's going to happen to him. Of course, he's not breathing easy. Right? None of these people are breathing easy. And of course, the one that was sick. But here, we said of it, from all the 4 situations, Azai, Miss Nachman, Kulam, they all get nechama. They all have nechama. Nimshach simcha lekulam bebechinas po'eu v'ashalem nichumim loy ule'evolav. Shal yedei refuasai nimshach nechama lechol ha'avelim. Hainu simcha brings simcha to the problem. And again, we said that comes from the oil. We said that when the lung is this, the oil comes to help us. The oil, the shemen that we were learning in Birchas Hareyach, the oil is so beautiful, especially the oil that smells, it gives you the rotzen. Remember, we learned these beautiful ideas can give a person the rotzen to feel close to Hashem. Okay, so that's this section over here. Now, this is amazing what we're going to learn. This is going to finish the lesson now with these letters here. This is an amazing limud right here by itself, what we learn now. Shemizma l'soida, hu mesugol limekasha l'leiled. If a lady is giving birth, very mesugol for the lady to say chapter 100. Very, very, very auspicious for her well-being. Because we said, remember we learned in the beginning of the lesson, now the Rebbe is finishing the lesson, he said that when a lady gives birth, so the blood that's in her thighs and her hips all rushes to the heart, right? It gets cold. It's mitzvaynin. It gets cold. Why? Because the blood leaves, right? And that's why it gives the opportunity for passage for the child, for the baby to come through, because again, there's more space, right? And then once the baby is born, the blood all returns back. Remember? Okay. Dainu loima oisai ki mizma l'soida Roshei Tevas mal. Mizma l'soida, the Roshei Tevas is mal. Mem lamed. What's mem lamed? Bechina shivim kolin shel yaledes shetzei ekes koidem aleida kamuva. So the Zohar says, he has a note on the bottom if you want to see it. The note says, he brings it beautiful, that the Zohar says that before a lady is going to give birth, she's going to give out 70 cries. Right? 70 cries. She's going to scream 70 times. I don't know if you want to tell this to the ladies, but this is what the Zohar says. Maybe the ladies will tell you, maybe it was I screamed more than 70 screams. I don't know. I didn't ask. I don't know. But that's what the Zohar says. Okay? Why is it 70? Because the Mizmar L'Soda, Mem, for Mizmar L'Soda, the Lamed, Mem, Lamed, Mem is 40, Lamed is 30, 70. So therefore you have the idea, and that's where the Zohar is getting this idea from. Okay, so far so good? Okay. V'yesh v'mizmar zeh kuf samach ches oisyos. And in this chapter 100, there are 168 letters. Interesting, right? Right? Give it counted the letters, right? In chapter 100 of it. Okay. So if you take out the Tehillim and you read chapter 100, you'll see if you count the letters, you'll see there's 168 letters in that chapter. Okay, got it? Okay. Now, Kuf Samaches, 168, who chesed ba'atbash. If you take the kuf in atbash means you switch the letters. In other words, when you take an aleph becomes a taf, a beis becomes a shin, right? That's atbash. Okay, so if the system of atbash, reversing the letters, okay. So if you take the kuf, you're going to get a ches, and if you take the samach, you're going to get a samach. And if you take the because it's in the sense, right? And if you take the ches, you're going to wind up with a daled. Okay? Ches will be daled. Okay. Which is chesed. Ba'atbash. Chesed. So you can take the 168 letters in the atbash, right? The 168 letters in the Mizmar 100. You could take the 168 turns into chesed. So far we have the Mizmar L'Soda, Mem, and the Lamed gives you 70. If you count all the letters up, you get 168. 168, Ba'atbash is Chesed. Chesed, okay.
It's also the 168th note on this paragraph.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
Okay, that's cute. Okay. Okay, but do we understand this so far? Okay. It's very, very deep. These things are very, very deep.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep it on the surface so we can understand what's going on. Okay. Bechinas halachas, okay. Okay. She'al yedei hachesed bechinas halachas ha'haylada b'nokel, the lady will be able to give birth easily. Again, anytime we're following halacha, we said halacha is chesed. Right? Why did we say halacha is chesed? Because we said that if a student, there's a rav, and the student wants to be meshamish the rav, and the rav objects, right? The rav says, no, you can't help me. So he's holding back from him halacha. And we said halacha is holding back from him a chesed. Right? You understand? Remember we learned that, right? If the rav wants to be meshamish the rav, and the Rav objects, so the Rav is holding back from the student a chesed, a halacha, which is a chesed. Okay, so here again, chesed we see has to do with halacha, and therefore the lady then can give birth easily. V'yesh mem gimel teves b'zeh hamizbar, and there are 43 words in the chapter. So we're taking apart this chapter 100. So far we said that the Mizmar, the Soda, the Mem, and the Lamed is 70, connected against the 70 cries that the lady will give. And then we said that in the chapter there's 168 letters altogether in chapter 100. The 168 Ba'at Bash is Chesed. Through Chesed, through Halacha, the lady will give birth easily. Okay, got it? Okay. And in the chapter there's 43 words. Now what's the significance of 43 words? Kishuy leiled hu al yedei sheyesh klipa shiyay meres gizoyru gam li gam loch loy. So the sitra achar is always there on the other when a lady is giving birth. It's a very dangerous situation. Why? The sitra achar doesn't want the child to be born. If the child is born, there's a possibility that this child will grow up to become a tzaddik, and that's against what the sitra achar wants. So the sitra achar is over there, and he's trying to prevent it. He doesn't want the baby to come out into the airspace, into the world. He doesn't want it because then the baby may make tikkun. And against that we have 43 words. Gam. He's saying gam. He says gam. The sitra achar says gam. He says, no, gam, I don't want this one. No, gam. Also this, I don't want this one. Gam. Oh, he says gam. The chapter has in it 43 words. What's the gematria of gam? 43. So we knock out the sitra. We help with the 70. We help with the 70 koilos, the 70 cries that the lady gives. Like we learned from the Zohar. The Zohar says that the lady will give 70 cries. 70 cries is, I'll explain to you just quickly, because the koilos come from the mouth, which is malchus. Malchus is only coming from the zer anpin, which is the 6 spheres above malchus. Okay, so if you take 6 and 1 is 7, okay, and if you take the system of 10 of each sphere, each sphere has within it a sphere of 10 systems inside. So if you take 7 times 10, it gives you 70. Got it? That's where the 70 kolos come from. All right, well, anyway, so now we understand where the 70 kolos come from. Then we understand that we want to have an easy birth. How does easy birth come about? Through halacha, which is chesed. How do you see that? There's 168 words 168 letters in the chapter 100 in Tehillim. So therefore, the 168 Ba'at Bash is chesed. Okay?
We're talking, this is the prep for the Kata Gomer, right? Like, so... Mm-hmm. And we're talking about like a very difficult situation that a woman, right?
Yeah, the lady also says, Koilim. Yeah, sure.
Because we were learning 4, and it's like, okay, so...
No, but she was sick. She was in a dangerous situation.
So that's
the Sitra Achas wants to knock her down and knock down the baby.
So now it makes more sense. Now the connection...
So she overcame that.
Right. Okay. Right.
Right, he's saying gam.
Right.
Oh, you say gam, I say mizma l'soda. No, it's so beautiful when you understand what's going on and why the lady is going to say. Now we understand. She was in a dire situation, and she was saved. And Baruch Hashem, the baby was born. Amazing. Mazel tov, right? Okay. Gam, okay. Ekinege gam. Ki hamizmar hazeh hu skula lemekasha leiled. This mizmar, this chapter, is a very big skula. It's very auspicious to help the lady through the birthing process in an easy way. Okay, so now we learned it's such a beautiful idea. This is just a side thing that we learned a beautiful idea of any, if you know any ladies that they can be giving birth, so tell them to say chapter 100. If they ask you why, so you can look up in the last page. In this lesson, you can read it to them, they'll understand it. Okay? All right, so that's the end. We finished now lesson 2 in Tinyana, Yemei Chanukah, and we learned so many beautiful, beautiful ideas. But now the whole point to learn this was to get to Likutey Halachos, okay? And Rav David said that it's a good idea that we do the Likutey MohaRan each time. Rav Nasser reminds us to he wants us to do that. So Mitzvah Hashem will do that. So if everyone's okay with that, if everyone's maskim, that would be wonderful. Okay, so
One extra one.
okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to start with Hilchos Ha'edah, the laws of giving thanks to Hashem. Unbelievable. Thank you very, very much, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to give us the opportunity to learn together and to continue. And we're moving along in Likutey Halachos, Baruch Hashem. It's a slow process, but it's going. Steady, but surely we'll certainly win the race, right? Right?
It's not a race.
No, I understand. No, we're trying to get, well, in life, we have to make sure we get it in. Okay, so here we go. So the Rebbe, Reb Nosson starts off, Divrei Shulchan Aruch, Dalet Tzrichin L'Hodos. There are 4 people that have to give thanks. When we say thanks over here, we're talking about Birchas HaGoimel, right? The Goimel bench, yes, the bench Goimel. The Simonach, and the Simon is V'chol HaChayim Yodu Chesela. How do you like that? In V'chol HaChayim, if you want to remember it, you see V'chol HaChayim. Why in Chayim? Because you have Choyla, is the Ches from Chayim. Then you have the Yam, is the one of the Yuds. Isurim, it starts with a Yud, is the other one. And the Mem is Midbar. So in Chayim, you can find the name Chayim, in the word Chayim. You can find the 4 situations that'll warrant the person to say Goim. Okay, got it again? Right, we got that? Ches, right? We got Ches, Choyla, right? The Yud for Yisurim. The Yud for Yam crosses through the Yam, the Mem for the Midbar. Okay, got it? Okay, so if you didn't remember, now you can remember. Okay, there we go. Baruch Ato Hashem HaGoimel L'Chayavim Toivos, and then the Shulchan Aruch says that's what the bracha is, and we know the bracha, Baruch Hashem. It's in your siddur. They usually have it by the bima. If you have to say it, Baruch Hashem. Okay. Al pi ha'maimer shel Chanukah b'Likutei Tinyana Siman Beis Sham Mevayer. It says over there, and that's what we were just learning about the Halacha Beis, right? Shal Yedei Toida. It says over there through giving thanks, right? Giving thanks. Remember we just learned about that, right? Thanks. Shehu Haidah, which is recognition, giving recognition and thanks, right? Bibechinas Dalit Tzrichin L'Hodos. 4 people have to give thanks, like we just mentioned, right? Shezeh Bechinas Shashu Olam Haba, and we said that is, and we learned in the lesson that is the idea of cheering of Olam Haba. That's just the window, David. It's not the air conditioner.
No, I know it's a window.
That's Hashem turned on the fan. Baruch Hashem. Bechina Shashu Olam Haba. So we said that we learned in the lesson, just to review quick, okay? In the lesson we learned the idea that in Olam Haba we can really truly give thanks to Hashem. Because when we're in Olam Haba, after 120, right? We recognize how, whatever Hashem did for us in the world, He did it for our good. And we can really see how wonderful it was, and we understand it. And we can really praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all eternity for what He's done for us. And we gave the example of a child, right? We gave the example of a child that's growing up in the home of his parents, and he doesn't understand the decisions that the parent makes for the child. Sometimes the child wants something and the parents say no. And sometimes the parents give the child something he doesn't understand. But as he grows up and he has his own children, he can see how the situations he finds himself in, and dealing with his own children, he could see how wonderful his parents were making the decisions to help him, and he could thank the parents and understand that. But that's how we'll understand it in Olam Haba. We'll really understand how everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for us, that we are the children of Hashem. All the things that He did for us while we were the children of Hashem, We didn't understand. Oh, we come to the next world, we'll understand it, and then we can really give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. Shaz Yil Yemei Haidah L'Shma Yizbarach. That also be the days of giving thanks to Hashem in Olam Haba, because again we recognize everything. V'chinas Halachos. That's the time of Chesed. We said Halacha is Chesed, right? Again, that's why I'm saying we have to learn this other lesson, or else I'll be reading these things and you'll be going, well, what is this, right? Kama Shama Yedei Zeh Meir Emes, and through that the truth comes about, right? The truth comes about through Halacha. We learned the okay. Al Yedei Shloisha Shemos, through the three names of Hashem. And we said, what were the three names? Kel, Elokim, and Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Right? Kel, we said, is connected to Tefillah. It was Yaakov Avinu, right? It was called Kel. The Torah is connected to Elokim, right? And Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is connected to this idea of the Shiduchim. Right? We'll see more about it. We'll see more. Shein Bechinas Torah Utfila, right? We said Torah Utfila, Vishiduchim Vizivugim. All right, now we understand. So the three Shemos are connected these three categories, right? Three categories: a Tefillah, Torah, and Shiduchim, which is Zivugim, right? Pairs. Okay. L'soicha dibur, into the dibur. We said that all goes. We have to perfect our speech. And what did we say? Perfection in speech is Lashon HaKodesh. Lashon HaKodesh is perfection in speech. And when do we get the perfection? On Shabbos. Why? Because we said during the week, everything is run by the Malach Metat, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the control over to the Malach Matat during the week, and things are all topsy-turvy during the week. When it comes to Shabbos, Hashem takes the control back himself, right? And that's when we can have shleimas, right? From the different pu'ulas, mishtanes, all the different things that Hashem does on Shabbos we can have, and then so too is our dibur is completed on Shabbos as well, okay? And that's why we say we can't speak divrei chol on Shabbos. Because on Shabbos we speak only things of Shabbos because our dibur has to be perfected. Okay? Now, kiyesh, okay, dalit chelkei adibur. And there's four categories of speech, the same way we learned Rabbi Eliezer. Right? When he wanted to prove to the Chachamim, so he used four different examples to show the different four, that he had perfection in the fourfold ways of speech, right? That's what he was trying to do. Okay, sheheim dibur shel tshuva. These are words of tshuva, right? The whole idea is to come back to Hashem. What a beautiful idea is to say, use your words, and his baidus to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Use your words dibur to Hashem to make tshuva is the most beautiful thing. V'dibur shel tzedakah. And then we said there's also kinds of words of tzedakah. What was that? When the ani comes to you, and you don't necessarily have as much money as he'd like you to give to him, many times you can console him. You can console the ani with words of kindness, with words of encouragement, right? You can use your words, and the words are considered tzedakah. The same way when it came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Avram Avinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avram Avinu by the bris bein Avsarim, the bris of the halves, the treaty of the halves, he said that you can have a child, Yitzchak. So Avram Avinu, v'emin b'Hashem, Avram Avinu he believed in what Hashem said. He ate tzedakah, and it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu considered that a tzedakah. So Emunah, the words is considered a tzedakah as well. V'dibur shel ashirim kroivim lemalchus, and we said the other one is the dibur shel ashirim, the words of the wealthy ones. It's close to malchus, right? We said that the wealthy ones are close to the Kaisley Beis HaMedrash, right? Shalom said that means because their names are on the wall, right? That's what you said, right? on the Mizrach Wand, right? Yeah. Okay. Bechina Shleishes HaSarigim, they were the three the ones from when it came to Paroi, right? He had the three. He had the Sarah Mashkim, the Sarah Oifim, right? The Sarah Tabach, right? He had the three, the three servants, the three. What would you say? How would you say that in English?
Three officers.
Agents. Okay, we'll use agents. Okay. V'diba shel Malchus Peh, and the words of Malchus Peh. We said that Malchus is the last of the spheres. Malchus is Peh, we learned. And the Malchus gets its power from the Zer Anpin, the 6 spheres above it. Right? Chesed, Gevura, Tveres, Netzach, Chod, Yesod. Those feed into the Malchus, and that's where the Malchus gets the Peh from. Right? That's where the Malchus gets its from the spheres above it. Ayin Sham, take a look in this lesson, and that's why I said, we have to learn the lesson, because if we read these things now, nothing seems to make sense in the points that Rav Nosson brought us here. But if you learn the lesson, now we understand the points that he's bringing. Now Rav Nosson's going to go and he's going to explain all of these points. That's how he does it in Likutey Halachos. He's going to explain these points based on Hilchos Haidah, based on this lesson. Okay? Got it so far, guys? Okay. Through this, Nimshach HaKedusha Shel Shabbos L'Sheishis Yimei HaChol. And we said through the Simcha of Shabbos, you can bring the Kedusha of Shabbos into the 6 days of the week. Right? We said that the Shabbos has Kedusha, Shabbos has holiness. Right? Shabbos is holy, it has holiness, and it has Simcha on Shabbos. Because again, we're not worried about everything as we have to worry about during the week. When Shabbos comes in, I say, Kol malachto yasui. I did all my work already. I expel all those thoughts of my business and all my dealings, everything, I expel them from my mind. Now I'm in a state of tranquility of Shabbos, a state of Simcha on Shabbos. I want that Simcha to spill over into the weekdays, right? That's what we learned about the Mincha by Shabbos, is the time of Rabbah, the Rabbin. It's a special time. And that's the time we can give koyach to all the minchas of the weekday, because we said that the mincha of the weekday is the time of din. That's the tuk for the dinner. That's the time that says the powerful din is the time of mincha. But the Shabbos mincha can sweeten the judgment from the minchas of during the week. And we could bring from the Shabbos, and that's what we said by the Yom. Every day we say the Yom. Today we said Hayom Yom Chamishi b'Shabbos. I'm drawing the Kedusha from Shabbos into the weekdays. Okay, got it? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And through that we could take all of these different things of the world, all the different things we see that seem very disjointed. We see things, one thing has nothing to do with the other, and there's pulos mishtanos, millions and billions of things going on. But when it comes to Shabbos, we bring them all back to Hashem. We know it's all back to Hashem. Right? Into the unity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's what the Shabbos is all about. And that's why we don't do malacha on Shabbos, and that's why we're not worried about anything on Shabbos, because Shabbos is the time that we take all the pulas mishtanas, all these crazy things, and we bring them back to the Achdus. We realize it's all you, Hashem. During the week, we're blaming this guy, this thing, it's this leader, that leader. Shabbos, no, forget all of that. It's Hashem. And we have the clarity. It's Hashem. So we could take all the pulas mishtanis and bring them back into the Achdus. Okay, he says, Ayin Sham, again, look into the lesson that we just learned, right, in lesson 2. And that's what it means that the halacha is like the rabbin. And we learned that yesterday, right? Why? Because when you have the rabbin, and each person has his own views, and each person has his own values and his own ideals. And you could take the rabbim and get the people to agree. You can get these people to agree. That's like this idea of the pulas mishtanos, all these disjointed things coming back to the Achdus. Right? Really, it's all Hashem. It seems so different. Every person's very different than the next person. But when the people can get together and they can understand and come to one understanding, and they can come to one agreement on something in halacha, which is chesed, right? Halacha is chesed because HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the world olam chesed yibaneh. Right? We're bringing it back to the chesed that Hashem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Wow, that's amazing. You're making the achdus. It's like a Shabbos during the week." Because Shabbos brings all the pulas mishtanas back to Shabbos, to the achdus. So when people are different people with different views, have different views, but they can all come to one agreement. Hashem, that's why the halachos karabim. We learned that. Ayin sham kol zeh heitev. Make sure you study this well. See what Rav Nosson says? Make sure you study this well. And that was the introduction for his lesson. Okay, we have some more time, right? We go, David. You have time today?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. Let's start with Aleph. That was the introduction to the lesson. Now we'll start with Aleph and with Siyata Dishmaya. Okay, here we go. Aleph. Biata. Now, Nucha Loimar. We can understand Shezeh Ba'atzmei Bechinas Dalet Tzrichin L'Haidas. Now we can understand why there are actually 4 different circumstances that'll deem the person have the onus upon the person to give haidah. There are 4 different ones. Keneged bechinas dalet chelkei adibur, connected to the different 4 folds of speech. Right? We said there's the 4 fold of speech. Right? 4 different ways of speech. And then those 4 different ways of speech are connected to these 4 circumstances that'll deem the person to give haidah. Shenishlam al yodam, and they're completed with the koyach hadibur, with the power of speech. They can be mishalem ki al yedei toida, dahainu al yedei hadalit tzrichin lahoidais al yodam nishlam rebuya adibur. We can fix the 4-fold of speech. Again, that was Rabbi Eliezer. He was trying to convince the rabbim on his view, because he had perfection of speech. So he thought he was able to convince the rabbim to go with him. Which could have, if he would have done that, so then the rabbim he would have increased the rabbim even more. Right? If he could have done that. Right? If the rabbim would have changed their ideas, because he convinced them, so then they would all go on his thing, but they all agree. So that would have been good also, what he was trying to do. And now we can understand why there's 4. Okay. We said when there's a sick person and he gets healed. Like we said, whenever a person is sick, the heart is in trouble. Right? Because the blood rushes to the heart. But he gives thanks to the name of Hashem. Yizbarach. That's the idea of diva shel tshuva. Why is that the diva shel tshuva? Look at these words. How do you like that, David? You hear these words? A person will never get healed. A person will never get healed unless this is in the Dharm. You can find this in the Gemara in the Dharm. Okay, in the Gemara in the Dharm on Mem Aleph, which is 41a. If you want to see this, the Gemara says, "Ki ein adam oimed michaylai." A person will never get healed from his sickness. Ella im kain moichlin loikol avayinaisav, unless he was forgiven for all of his sins. What causes a person to get sick? The sin. The sin causes him. The person gets healed. So that means he was forgiven for all of his sins. Through tshuva. That's the words of tshuva, right? You understand? The person did tshuva. He got sick. The person does tshuva. So of course, then that'll change everything. Tshuva, we said that the words tshuva can change the gezerah of the world. Whenever a person does tshuva, when a tzaddik speaks, we learned that in lesson 2, right? The words are so powerful that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is goyze gezerah, and the tzaddik can come along and he could be made for the gezerah. He could annul the gezerah. Kamaisha Kosa Vishav Virafa Loi, as the Navi Yeshaya says, Vishav, come back, Virafa Loi, and you'll have refuah. So do tshuva, and that's what we understand. Whenever a person has any kind of an ailment, do tshuva, come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and then you'll have your refuah. Now the next one is Yordei Hayam, Zeh Bechinas Diba Shel Tzedakah. Yordei Hayam, going to the sea. That's an idea of words of tzedakah. How is that words of tzedakah? Kamaisha muva b'yoyna ala anoshim shohayu imay basvina v'nodru nidorim. When Yonah was running away, right? He was on that boat, right? He was on the boat. He was running away, right? He was running away. He went on a boat, right? And there was a big storm. So we know that the people, all the people that were on the boat, they made commitments of charity, words of charity. They said, "I'm going to give charity. If I get saved, I'm going to give charity." Right? It's amazing. You want to say something, Shalom? No. Ki tzedakah hu bechinas yam. Tzedakah is the idea of yam. Bechinas mayim, water. Kamaisha kasav tzedakah kenachal esan. The tzedakah is like a nachal esan. Bechina shlach lachmacha al pnei hamayim. Send your breads, which is tzedakah. Lachmacha is also tzedakah al pnei hamayim, onto the water. And we know that Yisachar and Zvulun, right? They worked that idea. Zvulun worked out that agreement with Yisachar, that he will go to work and he will travel the seas. He will travel the seas and do commerce through his travel through the seas. What was his point? To give the tzedakah to Yisachar, right? Okay. Now let's take the next one. Chovish bebeis asurim. The person is incarcerated, right? Sheyotzei min ha'asurim. Or the person went out of his problem, whatever he was locked into. He was incarcerated in whatever situation it was. That's the idea of the words of the Ashirim that's close to the Malchus. Shayadam derech sheyotzei ha'chovush mitoich ha'masar bebechinas shleishes ha'sarigim shleishes sarei geyim. Again, how did Yosef get out of the jail that he was locked in? He remembered, the Sarah Mashkim said, I remember my deficiencies, he said. I remember my deficiencies, that I was in jail. He tells Parah, I was in jail. And there was a guy, Yosef, there. And he interpreted my dream, because Parah was in a quandary. He had that dream, and he had no idea what it meant. Parshas Miketz. Why is that? Because again, we just learned the lesson Yemei Chanukah. We always read Parshas Miketz on Chanukah, right? It's all show you it's all connected, right? So Yosef got out of the jail on Chanukah. This way he got out. He got out of the jail. He got out of the jail on Chanukah. That's what he said. That's why the oil of Chanukah heals the lungs, which heals the heart, which heals the body. Right? It's all amazing. So again, here you see it. Those are the rich ones, the ones that are close to the Melech. Those words can get a person out of the jail. Right? That's how you see that. Okay. Midbar. Now we have the fourth one. So we did the chayla, the sick person, right? And we said that the sick person he does tshuva, words of tshuva, and the words of tshuva will bring him his healing, right? And then we said the second one was the Yordei Hayam. And the Yardei Hayam, we said, was the idea to give tzedakah, right? Words of tzedakah. And the third one was the Chavish HaAsurim, the person is locked in jail, and those are the words of the Ashirim, the words of the Ashirim, the wealthy ones, the ones that are close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, those that speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that'll get him out of the Beis HaAsurim, right? If a person's locked in jail and he speaks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu words, and he speaks to him words of his Baididus, that'll get him out of his problem, right? Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help him. And then the fourth one is Midbar. The word is the desert. Bechinas Ikar Adiba. That's the main one. Why? Bechinas Malchus Peh. That's Malchus Peh. We said that Malchus is connected to the Zer Anpin, the six spheres above it. Chesed, Gevurah, Tveres, Netzach, Chod, Yesod. And that's where the Malchus gets Malchus is Peh, because of the Koyach of the six spheres above it. Ki midbar meramez al adibor, because midbar is meramez al dibor. Midbar is the same letters as medaber. Medaber, right? Ba'atzmai k'mevaya b'zayir hakadosh she midbar bechinas dibor. The Zayah tells you midbar is dibor, right? It's beautiful. Who would have ever thought that? Who would have ever thought that midbar is connected to medaber? It's the same letters, same word. That is Malchus Peh, that's the Ikar Dibur, and that is our lesson that we have for today, Aleph, and in the Mirz Hashem tomorrow, we are going to continue with Beis, okay? So Baruch Hashem, we were able to finish lesson 2 today, such a beautiful understanding of why a lady that's giving birth should read chapter 100. Right, we learned beautiful ideas. Mizmor L'Soda is the Mem, and the Lamed is 70. What is the 70? Because the 70 koilos, which is Malchus Peh, which come from the Zer Anpin, the six spheres above it. Malchus 7 times 10 is 70. That's where the 70 koilos come from, the 70 cries of the lady. And then we said that in the chapter there's 168 letters in the chapter. What's the example? What is the importance of that? If you take 168, Ba'atpash comes to Chesed. We said Chesed and Halacha is the answer, the antidote. That's the antidote for any problem that the person's in trouble. So the lady's in trouble. Why is the lady in trouble? We said because there's 43 psukim, 43 words in the chapter. 43 is Gam. Because the Sitra Achar is trying to knock her down. He doesn't want the baby to be born healthy and well. He doesn't want the mother to be healthy and well. But if she says the chapter 43, it goes against the Gam of the Sitra Achar, and therefore she can be saved. So therefore we learned there's a beautiful thing. Lady that's giving birth should say chapter 100. Now we understand why also. Baruch Hashem. And now we understand why there's 4 people that go to that find themselves in a difficult situation, and we started off by saying that first you have the chayla, the first one that the person is sick, and we said what is that? If the person uses from the 4 folds of speech, he uses words of tshuva. The words of tshuva will bring the person the refuah, like the Navi Yeshaya said, "V'shah v'rapeloi." Right? If you come by do tshuva, you'll have your healing. Okay. And then we said the second one we said was the person what do you call it? The person went to the yam. If the person went to the yam, then we said those are the words of tzedakah, right? Tzedakah, and that'll help the person. The third one we said is the idea the person was in the Beis HaAsurim, he was in the jail, and then the words of the Ashirim, like we said with Yosef Atzadik, will get him out. And here you understand why, and this is the beginning of our learning of lessons of Haidah, thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all connected to lesson 2 in Likutey MohaRan Tinyana. Okay, good so far, David?
Yeah, beautiful.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, so tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem will continue with Beis. Okay, thank you. Now let's. I think today we're finishing the halachos of Tfilas Kelim. If I think I'm right, let's see. Yeah, 13. Yeah, today we finished the halachos of. Wow, look at that. See that? We're finishing, and in Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow we're going to learn beautiful halachos that are really very practical. The ideas of Hilchas Pas Akum and Bishul Akum, Cholav Akum, all these different things that we always hear about, and we'll learn inside what it means, what are all these things, and how significant they are in our lives. So today we're gonna finish off with Hilchas Tfilas Kelim, Kol Hashayna Halachos B'chol Yom Muftach Leishu Ben Olam Haba. We all want to become, we want to be Ben Olam. We all want to be part of Olam Haba, because in Olam Haba we can give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because we understand everything, right? So we have to learn some halacha, because halacha is chesed, right?
Yes, but also, in this world, we can't fully see the full picture, but we have to mean, right? Like, that's so.
Yeah, we have to learn the halacha. That's it. Okay, so we're finishing Lamed Zayin, which is Siman Lamed Zayin, which is 37, Hilchas Tfilas Kelim, and today we're up to Yud Gimel 13. Here we go, with Siyata Deshmaya. Also, Lahatil Kli B'Shabbos V'Yom Tov. Here's a big klal, very important. So you have a new cup, a new pot, and something, whatever you want to use, a new bowl, nice salad, or whatever. I don't know. You have something you bought. Oh, I forgot to. I wanted to take it to the Keli Mikveh Shabbos Yom Tov. What do I do? Not allowed to take it. You're not allowed to take it to the Keli Mikveh on Shabbos. Why? The klal is you can't make tikkun on Shabbos. You can't fix things on Shabbos. So this kli is deficient, right? It's deficient at this point. If I take it to the Keli Mikveh, I make it proper. So that means I'm doing a makav, a patish on the kli. I'm not allowed to do that on Shabbos. I'm not allowed to give that final blow to change the circumstance, the situation of anything on Shabbos. I have to keep, it has to, okay. So therefore I'm not allowed to toivel the keli on Shabbos. V'im shachach lahatbil mikoidem. But what happens if you forgot to toivel it before? Yitneyu l'nochri b'matana. V'yachzir v'yishalenu mimenu. Oh, here you go. Now, here, look at this. This is a beauty. Here, now you have your new pot, or whatever it was, and your wife is yelling at you, I told you to take it to the Keli Mikveh. And now I can't use my new thing. I want to use this on Shabbos. My new whatever. So what can you do? If you have a guy in the building you live, or the next door neighbor, go to your guy, give the guy this thing, but matana. Hey guy, I'm giving you this as a present. You understand? Now we said, if the guy owns it, we learned, and he sells it to you, then it goes from his rishus to your rishus. Then you need to take it to the Keli Mikveh. But we said, if the guy owns something and he loans it to you, so you have no problem here that he used it or anything. You walk over to the guy, you have your new thing, you hand it to him, go, here you go, my name, Johnny, here you go, Johnny, here's the pot, I'm giving it to you as a present, but do me a favor, can I borrow it? Yeah, sure you can borrow it, why not? Oh, now I'm borrowing his pot. Oh, if I'm borrowing the guy's pot, I'm allowed to use it on Shabbos. I'm allowed to use it. It's beautiful to understand how to understand halacha. You can understand how to make tikkun and do it the right way. You understand? So here you go. You got this. This is a very practical thing, right? Your wife gave you a list of things to do on Shabbos, right? You got so involved in the Shnai Mikveh and Targum, right? And you're enjoying the Rashi. You saw the Ramban. You saw it was gewaldic. You saw the Archaim. It was amazing. You got lost in your learning. Wow. Oh, I have to go to shul now. I forgot to go to the Keli Mikveh. Now your wife's giving you. So you go over to the neighbor. You say, I'm giving you this as the matana. Can I borrow it? You like that, Shalom? Come on.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
but you have to get it back from him at some point.
No. Listen, you have to know if the guy's your neighbor, you know the guy, right? If you know the guy, so you'll know he'll work with you, right? If you, again, just to understand, there's a way to do something the right way, right?
It's a little easier to do that in Chutzlaritz than here, probably.
Right.
No. In my building, Baruch Hashem.
Oh, yeah?
No, in my building, no. We have a caretaker.
Ah.
We have a person, that lady that's a caretaker, an Indian lady that's a caretaker, Baruch Hashem.
For the whole for the building?
She's the Shabbos goy.
Yeah, boy, she must be busy probably.
Yeah, she's not that busy, but you'll find somebody. We live over here. We have these Sri Lankan guys here in Efrat, right? So they have multiple purposes of being here, right? They do cleaning. Well, they say they do clean, whatever. But they're there thinking, okay. Ve'imhu kli sheroyu lahavi by mayim. The mokim shemuta letaltel yishav by mayim v'yovay lebeisai. If it's a kli that you can carry water with it, so you can put water in it, take it to the house. The loy michzei kematil v'loy yavarech olav. Here we go. Here, look. You can, so to say, put it in the keli mikveh with the water, but you tell I'm taking the water.
You take the water.
What is that?
Fill.
No. You take it to the keli mikveh. You put the cup inside the keli mikveh, and you take the cup up, and there's water in there. Oh, so I'm carrying the water back. I'm using it to carry water. There's an Erev, of course. There's an Erev, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have it in your backyard. You have a keli, but whatever. I'm not getting involved in those things, okay? You're allowed to carry. You're not allowed to carry. But now you have your thing with water. I'm carrying my water. Oh, I'm carrying the water. I take it down. It was taivel. But it doesn't look like I taiveled it.
Because there's still water.
Water in there.
It looks like I'm carrying the water.
Looks like I'm carrying water, but it was taivel.
And then you could use it?
Then you can use it.
So you do that on Shabbat?
It's better to do it the first way than this way. Better to do it this way.
Shabbat good, then
That you can. There's another tikkun that you can do.
This keli doesn't need tefillah. It belongs to the guy.
You what?
Doesn't need tefillah. It belongs to the guy.
What doesn't need tefillah?
The daily he gives to the guy.
No. Here's another. This is another case. This is a different case.
They didn't give it to the guy.
No goy.
No guy. There's a different case. Different case.
When do you pour out the water?
When you get to your house.
Drink it.
You drink the water.
Once you get to the house, you're doing it so that it doesn't look like you did a case. I'm carrying water.
Right, you're carrying water.
I need water. The guy went to the well. He needed water. He carried the water back. That was normal.
But do you use the water for anything specific?
No, you don't need the water.
You don't need the water.
No.
But you're saying,
I need the water to carry it. You know, it doesn't have to be full.
The water
You carry a
itself
little
is
water
the
in. You
point.
carry a little water. In other words, look, the pot can hold, let's say, 10 ounces, okay? You put in there 2 ounces. You walk with 2 ounces carrying the water. That's all. So in other words, you're doing it in a way that here's again. That's the beautiful thing to learn halachos, so you know what to do in circumstances. Because again, the guy finds himself in a quandary, right? I don't know. I was supposed to table the thing. Now I'm going to be in trouble. I didn't do it. So now you learn there's 2 different ways you can do it. Find the guy, give it to the guy, borrow it back from him. It's still in his rishus, and therefore it's still in his rishus. It's not in my rishus. I can use it. I'm allowed to use it without toiveling it, okay? And that's one rule. That's one way we learn. The other way you can learn, you can take it to the keli mikveh. Of course, you don't make a bracha. You put it into the keli mikveh, like you're washing it off in there, whatever it is. You know, you look like you're washing off the kli or something in the keli mikveh, and then you take some water out with it. So it doesn't look like I'm washing it. I'm washing it off in the keli mikveh. It looks like I'm doing a shtifa in the keli mikveh, and I take a little water back and I walk into the house, and then I did the tefillah. Yeah.
He's metakin on Shabbos.
I said it's not metaltal on Shabbos. He's metakin on Shabbos, okay, but he's doing it in a way that it didn't look like he did it.
So the problem is the outwardly making it tikkun.
No. I'll give you one more example. People. One guy called me up and he said he wanted to know on Shabbos. Sometimes he has a cholent, right? He likes to make his cholent, and sometimes the water boils out of the cholent, and he's afraid that it's going to burn. It's very important to him. His cholent, his chamin is very important to him, right? So he doesn't know what to do. Can I add water? So I said you can add water, and there's a way to do it. You know how do you do it? How do you add water to the cholent on Shabbos? Okay, very simple. So the best way is if in your crock pot, you put a tin foil liner. In the crock pot itself, you take the pot out, underneath you put a tin foil liner. Most people put the line in it because they don't want it to get the pot dirty also. But halacha has because that becomes then another kli. Right? The tin foil is like a kli. I can put something in it, right? You could take the crock pot out. You take it out. You have to hold it. You have to keep holding it. You have to hold it, and you have to have das to put it back. That's the main thing. Das la'achzor, you have to have das that I'm going to put it back. Then you can take water out of your hot water urn, right? You have your hot water urn, a cup of water, while you're holding it. Now the hot water is no problem with bishul or anything. Why? Because again, the thing is hot and the hot water is hot. There's no problem. I'm not heating this up. I'm not heating that up. They're both hot.
Cooling it down also. It's cooling it down. Like
I'm not cooling. No, it's very hot. No, it's way over Yad Saledis by while I'm holding it. Right? I take the water. I put it into the cholent. Right? I can mix it up if I want. Right? While I'm holding it. Right? While I'm holding it.
the dot that you're putting it back.
And then with my das to put it back, and I take the pot, put it back in. But if I put the water into the pot while it's in the crock pot, I'm over on bishul. That's bishul. But if I take it off the heating element, the thing that's heating it, right? And I take it out, and it's still hot. That's the main thing. It's still hot. You can't take it off and do it an hour later. That won't work. You do it mamish. You take it out. You take the hot water, put it in, and put it right back. That's the right way to do it.
So what's the tin foil have to do with it?
Oh, so the tin foil has to do with it because then you're not putting it directly. It's like the blech almost.
Oh, you're not putting it directly.
It's like the blech, right? The tin foil is like, you put a blech on the fire, right? You don't want to put it directly on the heating thing. Yeah. So if you have the tin foil in this, you're not putting it directly onto the heating element itself. But wait, you tell me it's just a tin foil? Yes, it works. Works in halacha, right? And that's according to almost all views. That'll work the way we discussed that. Okay. So again, there's a right way. You have to learn how to do things, right? We have borer on Shabbos, right? Borer, right? The guy has a plate. He has a plate, and they served him peas and carrots, right? It happens. Sometimes you get peas and carrots. I'm just using that as an example. And the guy can't stand peas, or he doesn't like carrots. Right? He doesn't like peas or he doesn't like carrots. So during the week, he can separate the peas and the carrots, no problem. Shabbos, you can't do that. I can take on Shabbos the good out of the bad, but I can't remove the bad from the good. That's borer. I can take, again, one more time. I can take the good from the bad and leave the bad, but I can't take the bad from the good.
That's just a mindset thing, right?
No, but that's how it works. This is mamish halacha. The guy can be over isub daraisa if you do it wrong. Isub daraisa, right? There's a time in the time of if there would be the Beis Hamikdash, it would be Eidim and Asra. The guy would come over to you. You're going to get stoned if you do this. And I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to move over I can't stand these peas. I'm going to move them over. I don't care. I don't care. You get stoned. No, but we don't have to. No, but now you understand. I could take my fork and eat up all the carrots or all the peas, whichever one I like, and leave the other ones there. I didn't do anything wrong.
They're not separated.
Can't separate them. But there's a way to do it. The way you can enjoy it the way you want to do it the right way. And that's what all the halachas learn that we're trying to learn about, how you do things the right way. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining. Kol Tuv.